Hello, it's PeeMonster, and I'm so excited to share these pencils. I've been waiting for these for 15 years. I guess they came out a while ago, and I just didn't know because I live under a rock, but cruising YouTube looking at other graphite artists, I saw one who had these. And these are the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black pencils, and they are a godsend because they have a higher carbon content, so you get blacks, very black pencils that aren't smudging everywhere like normal charcoal. So this is what they look like. Like I said, they have a higher carbon content so that you're getting a lot more black. If you're familiar with graphite and working in graphite, you know that the darkest you'll go is a very, very, very dark gray. But with these pencils, you will get black. So these are my new best friend. I do not work without these anymore. I've been waiting for these for 15 years. So yeah, as you can see, they come with an 8B, a 6B, two 4Bs, and two 2Bs. If there's one thing I can change about this set of pencils, I would give myself more 8Bs and less 2Bs and 4Bs, just because the 8B is so soft that it runs out very quickly. As you can see, my 8B is very small because I use it a lot. This one blends very well with graphite. However, when you get up to 4B and 2B, it's a little bit harder to work with normal graphite. Yeah, so what I would have done and what I would advise them to do for the future, give us 2 or 3 8Bs and maybe one 4B. You know, I don't think it's necessary to have two 2Bs just because they don't really go anywhere. They're still very hard lead. But yeah, you can get this pack for about $10 on Amazon, which I'll include a link in the description. And yeah, so let's play. One thing that I was hoping that these, the reviews that I was watching on these pencils before I bought them, I was hoping that they would show whether or not they will blend with graphite. You know, I saw a lot of the sphere test, you know, that they do with pencil reviews as usual, but nobody really showed if they will blend with what you already have. So let's go ahead and do that. Spoiler alert, they do blend. Okay, so I'm using Caran d'Ache graphite graphwood pencils as usual, and my paper is Strathmore. I write it when I pre-cut them. Yeah, but this is the Strathmore 500 Bristol, which is an amazing quality paper. I believe it's the best I've ever tried. If you're looking for a paper, this is the one that you want. You can get it on Amazon, which I'll also link to below. And I'm just going to start out with something that I would typically draw, just to, you know, be honest about what I'm going to show here, not just spheres and like crosshatch or whatever. So here we go. I'm a big fan of big bows, if you didn't notice. Okay, so here we have our test subject. She's a girl. She is drawn purely right now in H hardness graphite by Caran d'Ache. And so now we're going to experiment a little bit with the different ways to do it. When I had first got these pencils, I had tried laying down the Mars Black Lumograph first, just to see if that would help with keeping the black to where it still pops as black and not getting overridden by like really hard by the graphite. So for here, we're going to start with some of the Mars Black Lumograph. This is the 4B, which this is a safe place to start, I found, if I'm laying it down first. As you can see, or I hope you can see, it leaves room. I mean, it's not pure, I mean, it is black. It's just a, how do you say it? It's like a light black, but not quite gray. It's just like a, if you think of black and white printer ink, it's like a lighter, like a diluted black. So let me just go all around her head and give her some darker strands to start with. So now to blend, I'm probably going to go with a 4H of my Caran d'Ache graphwood because it I'm going to use it to pull this darkness down with graphite. So as it transitions into graphite, as it will as it gets lighter, where her hair is going to be shiny, I'm pulling it down so it becomes like a seamless transition to where you're getting this black and it's going to go to like this graphite, which is my H again. Does that show? Do you see that? Yes. So I'm just going to do that in this area, and then after this we're going to try doing like a really dark 8B on her bow. Sometimes I do just prefer, like I've found in my months of using this, even if I start with a darker Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black pencil, I'll still in some places start off with graphite. And that's okay because it does blend when you get to the softer Lumograph pencils. I think I'm so used to using them now, I just don't I don't think to narrate what I'm doing, but hopefully this is clear why I'm doing it. And just overall it helps it to blend a little bit better, to have fun, not just have a system to where you're black and white about how you're going to do things. So yeah, this is the 4B Mars Lumograph pencil, and I'm going over my 4B graphite, Caran d'Ache Graphwood. And as you can see, it does go over the graphite, but I find that the graphite, having been laid down first, is a little bit less forgiving than if I were to put the 4B Lumograph pencil down first. But to me, I think that's an advantage because it forces it to blend more. And I'll pull this down a little bit more. See, when it gets to this point where I've already blended some graphite, I find that I'm going to need to go to 6B Lumograph Black or 8B, but 6B is safe. I think 6B is a safe middle ground between darkness and workability. So yeah, this is the 6B. It still goes over, even though I've done all that blending with graphite. And you know, graphite tends to take on like a shiny surface to where it won't catch anything. It still shows up. Yeah, it breaks apart the line just a little bit, but it still shows up enough that it's fair to say that it's blending. And I'm still seeing my darker lines over the 4B lines. Same here. Yeah, the 6B is just soft enough to be able to do that. So when you get to the 8B, to me, I think it's a little bit, you'd have to be a little bit more considerate of where you're putting your lines, just because the 8B is a lot less forgiving than the 6B of the Staedtler Lumograph. I'm just going to fill in this hair here because we've been on this for quite a while. Right now I'm using my H pencil, and I'm just going to, once you get comfortable, you know, it's okay. It doesn't quite matter like what order you do it in, but for the most part, but I like to sometimes see more hair before I decide where to put the dark spots, if that makes sense. Okay, so for the sake of sharing it, I'm going to pull out my 8B Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black. So this is the darkest that it will go. It's very soft, but not so soft that you're going to be smudging everywhere. It does smudge a little bit, but I tend to avoid charcoal outside of charcoal dusting just because it's so messy. So this has just enough to where it's soft enough to give me a very, very black, charcoal black, but hard enough to where it sticks together. It stays together, I think. So yeah, you can already see it's going flat, so it's making my lines thick. That's another advantage to using the 6B, because it'll stay thin as you're doing like hair lines, but this one will literally go flat as you're making a line. So she has like these huge chunks there, but you can always straighten it out with the 6B or a 4B just to give it like a really tight, sharp line for something like hair. Or you could even go back to your graphite, because as we've established, it does blend. So I could even get away with using, what's this? A B graphite to help sharpen these lines. And you can't quite tell there's a difference in pencil between the tip of the hair and the piece of hair itself. So I hope we're answering this question. I was so frustrated when I went through all these reviews, and it's just like, why won't anyone show me if I can work with these? Like, if I'm gonna be if I'm gonna use graphite, I want to see that these will blend with graphite, not just scribbles and the Lumograph and like try to smudge it. It doesn't work, you know. There's so much more that needs to be known about these pencils, and I want to tell you because I want you to have these pencils and for your art to be awesome, because we now have black in graphite land. You see that crisp line that just pops right over the graphite? That is the beauty of the 6B Mars Lumograph. I think this one will be your BFF. It took me a while to realize that 8B was a little bit deceptive. 6B I can trust and still use it as though it were a normal graphite pencil for the most part. And sometimes I like to go over it with one of the lighter, like this is a B graphite, and I'm just gonna go over, even though I have the dark lines up here, I'm just gonna go over them again and like really work that darkness into the graphite to where you can still see it, but it's blending with the graphite very nicely. I think these pencils are just beautiful. I cannot say that enough. I love 15 very difficult years of my life. Love these pencils. All 15 years cried for these pencils to be born, and here they are. You know, I said we'd play with her bow, but I'm actually gonna make a suggestion for something like lining her eyes. I will use the 6B. And yes, I did go a little bit darker on the H pencil when I sketched her there, but there's no problem for the 6B Lumograph going over it, because like I said, it's still very soft, yet workable. It's soft and it stays fine, so like even like her eyelashes, I can do that even though I've just lined her eye because the pencil has not gone flat. So yeah, I like to line with these, and then I'll just do like a light, kind of like a wash of pencil up her eye, so that when I'm ready to do the graphite layer, it will blend a bit more smoothly. There we are. And just real quick, I'll demonstrate that. This is my B graphite pencil again, safe zone. It's not too light, not too dark. Just to let us off easy from the darkness into the graphite. And the B pencil's versatile, so it's a good choice if you're gonna use it to transition from the black to the gray. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up with I guess we didn't really give the 8B a chance to shine. I said a lot of mean things about you, but I didn't mean it. This was my original love, like I said, as far as like getting the absolute black down before I did the graphite, which you don't really have to do, but I just did it because. So we're gonna give it a chance to be seen. I'm gonna start this bow completely in 8B Mars Lumograph. As you can see, it is very black. I'm going to go over some of my graphite here on her hair, which is totally okay because this 8B is very soft. I'm going to give her a nice big black bow. Alright. And there. So now that that bow is there, I'm going to show another trick that I've been doing, and that is softening when I put a heavy 8B, I will soften it a little bit with a soft tip. And there you go. You'll have your gray. Because I don't want it to be like super blend, like bright white shine. It's just maybe more of a velvety shine. And I'm going to go to my 4B, which is darker than the B graphite. So I'm going to my 4B graphite, my Caran Graph Wood. And I'm going to pull this darkness into the light. You can also do it with like a darker graphite. I think it would work as well, just because the middle is not white, it's gray now. Like this area is gray. So it wouldn't hurt if you did it with like a 6B or 8B graphite. Caran Graph Wood. And there. Nice. I'm also gonna make some more creases on the bow in this pencil, just because bows are creasy. Okay, and now what you can do is you can use like another blending tool. A stump is pretty good, and just help that 4B bring that 8B Mars Lumograph into its final form, blending with the graphite. There we go. That looks very nice. I love that. Ooh, I love these pencils. I'll just go ahead and finish that one up for the sake of at least completing her bow for you. This time I'm using a 6B to pull the darkness into the light. I haven't smudged it yet, but I can do that after. The 6B is a very nice transition from the 6B graphite is a very nice transition from the 8B Lumograph Black. And now I'm gonna just blend it a little bit. Nice. Oh my goodness. It surprises me every time still, just because these were a very long time coming. I've been waiting for these for a very long time. So I'm very, 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 very happy that they exist. There we go. I love these stumps. Voila! So it's pretty quick. Typically I'll put more time and detail into layers, but I mean, for the sake of this drawing, my time is limited, so this is a pretty good example of what these pencils are capable of. This is 8B again, the 8B Lumograph Black. See what it does on hair. Just this top section is all I'll do, because I am running out of time. I have a 6B again. Pull it into the light. Yes. And get crazy with the hair. Just have some fun with dark areas and layers of strands and light areas. Another thing that's another thing I like about these pencils is that they give you an opportunity to have like more dimension. And we are going to pull it back to a B pencil if I can find it. No, that's 5B. Oh my gosh, where's my B pencil? Okay, there we go. We're going to pull it back to a B pencil just because I feel like I'm getting a little bit dark here. And we want to get lighter, like where her hair is curving. And thankfully, because I'm using the Mars Lumograph Black pencils, I can do that. So throughout this drawing, purposely, I did not cover the rest of the drawing because I do want some smudging action to demonstrate like what it would be like. Typically when I work, I'll have this piece of paper here so that I'm, you know, not smudging the work as I go, but this time I did not, and hopefully you can see clearly, but there is some smudging action going on, and that's the extent of it. Like I even put my hand over her face. If you can see, my fingers definitely have some juice on them, but that's what you're working with these pencils. If it was charcoal, it would be all over the place, but with these pencils, it's really not that bad. Like it's not much worse than graphite would be by itself. So it's erasable, very erasable. I can very easily clean up these smears up here. They come right off. It doesn't just rub into the page. I don't have to use the gum eraser like I do with charcoal. Leave a little bit there so you can see how cleanly it erases. As you can see, it erases completely clean compared to the smudges down there. So yeah, these are the pencils you're looking for. If you're gonna work in a full spectrum black rainbow, you're gonna want these pencils because it's not a black rainbow without black. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope that these pencils will change your life the way they changed mine. Total game changer. I would not trade them for anything. I don't think I will ever go back to using like charcoal pencils for anything other than when I'm doing charcoal dusting, but that's completely different. But these are what you need. You must get them. And again, one last time, it's the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black pencils. Have a great day.